had a bit of trauma when you were the victim of a gang attack.
They're like, who you? I'm like, George McKenzie. Where are you fae this out? And I says, I'm for here, and they're like, off. Wrong answer. Been jumping on my head. Everything for about 20, 30 minutes. They stabbed us. They were jumping there. Honestly, I ended up falling asleep. I actually owed a guy like £800 or something, like for a car. And I didn't have the money to pay the guy. And he asked me to do a wee drop for him. I got the stuff. It was 2 kilo of cocaine. And when I picked the stuff up, I don't know if the place was watched or no, because I go onto the Edinburgh Road and the police were just everywhere. As soon as they turned around and gave me 5 years for it. I went to Blarney one night. I went into my cell, and when I woke up in the morning, that guy had been in my cell and like slashed all my face and all that.
You basically died out in that landing that day.
I feel as if I was like running through this blood, but I couldn't move, if you know what I'm talking about. So I'm talking about, and I'm trying to get to this door, but this guy's so strong. I didn't even know if there was one person in my cell or 10 people, like running the blood through my legs to start my heart again, because my heart stopped. And then I had to like stay in there. Sorry.
Fine. George McKenzie, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you. It's a pleasure for you to have me on your show.
It's an honour to have you on, George. So before we dive right into your story, if you can talk me through what you have going on in the now and the present moment.
Well, just my family time. And then I love being part of that now, because I was never a family person when I was growing up. Had a good family, but went through a lot of rough patches.
So you're spending time now with the kids, the missus, being a good dad. It's great to hear, mate. And now we'll dive right into your story. So I'll take you back to the first chapter, your early memories of childhood. I know you grew up in Easterhouse.
Yes.
It had a notorious reputation, still has, back in the 90s. So if you can talk me through that.
It was actually okay growing up, but my father, he died when I was a young age, and well, just with my mum, what I'm talking about, and we ended up moving into my papa, my grandpa, and my grand's house with my mum, and that's where they brought us up, you know what I mean? And then...
So what age were you when your dad died, sorry?
I must have been about 7-year-old or something.
Right, so...
Still pretty young, do you know what I'm talking about?
So that's a trauma itself.
Aye.
And you can remember that happening.
Yes.
So growing up there in Easterhouse, I know what it's like. I come from a rough area myself growing up. So what age would you say you were when you were first involved in like the alcohol and the drug scene?
Oh, well, it was probably when I started secondary school. Probably about 13, 14. Used to smoke a wee bit of hash, take buckets. That's what I practically only done. Then went on to a wee bit of drink, some ecstasy.
Right, so at a young age, still early teens.
Aye.
So and that's hard as well, because when we're going through that at a young age, we don't realise that we're supposed to have a childhood at that age. But I know what it's like. You're growing up in an environment where that's what's available at that moment to you. So what age were you when you first started getting involved in the harder drugs then? Were you still young?
Well, I was probably about 21-year-old or something.
Right, okay.
When I started obviously like dabbling with like cocaine and that.
Right, before we actually dive into that, when you got to into your 20s, I know that you had a bit of trauma when you were the victim of a gang attack.
Yes.
Sure, you were only 15, is that correct?
15-year-old, aye.
Can you talk me through that?
Well, what it was, obviously, I was obviously with a drink as well, because I can remember what I actually had. I had like a bottle of Buckfast and a case of Miller. and it was my wee cousin's birthday that day, and I was walking a lassie that I was seeing, was walking her back to her house, and walked her, dropped her off, and I was walking back towards Edinburgh Roadway, and there was probably about 30 people or something standing there, and I've just ran because I thought it was like my brother, my family, and some of my friends. So it was for that area, and I've ran right into them all, and they're like, "Who you?" I'm like, "George McKenzie." "Where are you fae this out?" And I says, "I'm for here," and they're like, "Off." Rang answer. Whacked his head the head with a bottle of bucky. And obviously I've been on the ground, and they've been jumping on my head, everything for about, I say about 20, 30 minutes. They've put my neck on the curb, head on the fence. They stabbed us. They were jumping there. Honestly, I ended up falling asleep. Actually was counting myself, and 1 to 10, kept going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I just kept repeating it, and before you knew it, I fell asleep, and I get found in a pile of blood. And
So this was a rival gang then?
yes.
And what was your injuries then, do you remember?
Well, actually, it was just like my head was swollen. There wasn't really any like artificial wounds, do you know what I'm talking about? It was only like a wee stab mark inside my ear, and inside my body was actually full of fluid, so it was. Never in my head, it was full of fluid, and I had to get it drained. They had to put a big syringe right through my ear and drain the fluid out where my brain, do you know what I'm talking about?
So that's a trauma itself. Going through that at 15. So when you went back onto the street for them, right, you're starting to recover for your injuries, you're stuck just straight back into the same lifestyle.
Aye.
Now we can dive into when you were involved in the harder drugs. So age 21, you say?
Aye, probably about between 21 and say when I got out the hang, so I was 21.
And what type of drugs was that, George?
That was cocaine.
Cocaine?
Aye.
Right. You snorting it every day by that point?
No, I wasn't snorting it every day. I was taking bits and bobs, and it was always there, so I could take it anytime I wanted.
Right. When did the crime start to come then? What was your first involvement with high profile crime?
Well, my first involvement was I actually owed a guy like £800 or something now for a car, and I didn't have the money to pay the guy, and he asked me to do a wee drop for him, and I done a drop, and well, I didn't do the drop. I got the stuff. It was 2 kilo of cocaine, and when I picked the stuff up, I don't know if the place was watched or no, because I go onto the Edinburgh Road, and the police were just everywhere, boxed me in, and that was my first time ever.
Right, so you're picking a parcel up
Yeah.
for a guy because you owed money.
Mm.
First involvement in serious crime. Can you speak me through your emotions then? So you're driving, the police have surrounded you, you know you've got the 2 kilos of cocaine in the car. What happens after that? What sort of emotions are you going through? Is it like a moment in time?
It's if it just stopped. Like your brain, you couldn't think, there was nothing there, you couldn't even think or nothing. It was just, you feel as if somebody just stole your soul right out your body. Scary.
Right, okay. So
That was the first time I ever been involved with police. Do you know what I'm talking about?
so you were took to the police station, charged. What were you charged with?
Concern to supply.
Right. Did you get bail?
Yes.
How long were you on bail for?
Probably about 10 months or something, 11 months.
11 months. Do you know you're getting a sentence, or do you think you're getting a sentence?
Well, they says I was getting a sentence, my lawyer says I was getting a sentence, so I didn't really know much about courts or anything, do you know what I'm talking about?
Right, so can you talk me through that day when you went up to court, and are you pleading guilty of this crime?
Yes.
And then in court, talk me through that day, because that must have been emotional for you when you were sentenced, and how long you get sentenced for.
It was scary. I'm standing up there with my wee suit on, my wee bag, with my clothes in it. Now we go to the big house. And it was scary. As soon as they turned it around and gave me 5 years for it, I didn't think I was getting anywhere near that, do you know what I mean? Because I didn't know what I actually was involved in here.
So sentenced to 5 years, and what prison did you end up in?
I went to Ballini.
Ballini. Do you remember the first day driving up to the gates?
Aye.
Can you talk me through that?
Oh, it was horrible. So it was. I don't even know, I couldn't even explain the emotions that was going through me in that moment in time. I'm just sitting in this wee dog box or something, they call it, in the vans. And I'm just looking at that big was and all that, and I'm like, never thought I would be in here, do you know what I'm talking about? It was the most scariest thing in my life. Well, one of them.
Right, so you're in Ballini. What sort of experience was that then, your first time in the prison? Did you know anybody in there? Like,
Well, I didn't really know anybody, but once I went into the prison, and everybody was just walking about with like a chip on their shoulders. So I was like one of the wee timid guys, and these are all walking about like big bears. Do you know what I'm talking about?
and I know Ballini has got a notorious reputation. So did you serve your full sentence in there? But you get sentenced to 5 years. How long did you
5 years, and obviously, because I pled to the crime, I got it down to 3 year, 4 months, I think it was.
Right, okay. How long did you serve?
Probably about between 18 months and 2 years.
Right. So see, when you were in prison, were you taking drugs in there as well? I know, just to get by.
I was taking obviously gabapentin and
Right.
and pre-gabalin.
So that they are notorious in the prison system
Yes.
as well. Legal highs and stuff like that.
No, I never touched that.
Right. So you served how long, do you say?
Probably about a year and a half to 2 years.
So 2 years, say, right? And the people that you meet in there, so it's like career criminals.
Aye, so you just learn, supposedly for the best, but
Right, so you're in there and you're supposed to be getting rehabilitated to get back out into society,
Aye.
become a pillar of it. But obviously with these people that you're meeting, you start to learn how to be a criminal, how to get away with these things, how to make money, different things. So can you talk me through when you got out then? Do you remember that?
I can remember when I got out, yes, I ended up going for Ballini, and it was near the end of my sentence, but I ended up getting to Castle Huntly, now the Open Estate.
Right.
So they sent me there for like, I think it was a couple of months, and then I got released for Castle Huntly, so I did a tea in Dundee. That's where I got released for.
Right.
And then when I got released for there, I was right bang on it again.
So you're released and you straight back into Easterhouse.
Aye.
So straight back up to your old tricks again. Involved in more crime, more drugs. Can you speak me through that? Because a lot of people that get out of prison go down the same road, like turning their life around, being that reformed character. It's really difficult because you've been in that prison environment, locked up with career criminals, right? So you're getting back out on the street. And what type of mindset did you have then?
Well, I don't know. It wasn't the same mindset before I went into the prison anyway. It was like, because I didn't really do drugs, let's sell them or whatever. And I got out there, and that's all I wanted to do.
Right.
Because that was all, every single day, that's all you're listening to.
So when you were released, straight back into serious organised crime then?
Yes.
Can you speak me through that in more detail? So if you are, what type of crime were you getting involved in?
Cocaine again, concerning supplying.
Right.
That's all it really was.
So it was a larger scale this time?
Yes.
Are you comfortable talking me through that? And how much are we talking here?
Oh, like millions.
Millions of pounds worth,
Yeah.
street value? And so how long were you involved in this before you caught the eye of the police again then?
Yeah, probably about 2 years.
Right.
Well, probably they were probably on to me, but maybe they were probably watching me for the day I got out. I don't know. Couldn't tell you exactly what it was, but I ended up getting done again.
Right, so it's inevitable, isn't it?
Aye.
You're involved in these types of things. How much cocaine were you involved in? But so you're saying millions.
Aye, well, you're talking about, sometimes we were doing like 10 to 12 kilo a week, fortnight,
Right.
all over the country.
So there was surveillance on you and you didn't know about it?
No.
I know you were arrested again a second time
Yes.
for the same charge, but just on a larger scale this time.
Aye.
Can you talk me through that day? Because I know when you told me, because it's like a bit of a shock. Can you speak me through that in more detail?
Or in the warehouse.
In the warehouse that day,
Aye,
that
well,
happened.
Oh, it was mad. We were sitting there obviously mixing all these boxes up. There were probably about 10 to 12 boxes of cocaine mixed up, sitting obviously in piles, wrapped and everything. And the police ended up just coming right through the door. I actually thought it was like the people owned the garage. And I'm like, they're like, right, stop what you're doing, McKenzie. And I'm like, no bother. Do you know what I mean?
So they've come right through the door,
Aye.
the drug squad. That's mad. So that must have been some feeling. So you've been arrested, obviously. Where did you go for there?
Govan Police Station.
Right. Again, charged with intent to supply.
Yes.
Again, on a bigger scale. And were you bailed this time or were you remanded?
Remanded.
Remanded.
3 days we spent in that police station.
Right. So obviously you're still under the influence at the start, the first day. You start to sober up a wee bit in the cells in Govan.
Oh,
What type of emotions are you going through at that time?
off. Back to this thing again, man. Crazy.
So you don't know what's going to happen. You just know you're fucked basically. You're
Aye.
getting another sentence
Big time.
because it's a repeat offence. This time it's a lot of cocaine. And you were remanded. Where did you go in your remand?
I went to Burnley again.
Burnley
Straight
again.
away.
So how are you feeling about this when the time you get to prison?
Well, numb. I was numb. I wasn't even, my emotions weren't even there anymore, do you know what I'm talking about? It was just like drained. Somebody's just stole my soul right out of me.
Right. And obviously it's not just hard for you, it's hard for the family, I know.
Yes.
Young kids at that time.
Yes.
And in your mind you're thinking you're going away for a long time. Your family are thinking you're going away for a long time. So how long do you serve in remand again?
Probably about between 11 and 13 months. I can't exactly remember what it was.
Right, are you pleading guilty to this one?
Aye.
Was it the High Court you went to for your sentence?
High Court, yes.
What High Court was it?
Went to, obviously we were at the High Court in Glasgow to start with.
Right.
Then we were in Burnley. And then we get moved to Addieville. And then it was the High Court in Livingston.
Do you remember that day? Livingston High Court, the day
Yeah.
you were sentenced?
Yes.
What did your lawyer tell you? What type of sentence are you looking at here?
We were probably looking for a 12-year sentence.
Right.
Know what I mean? And once I was at court, I got a 9-year sentence down to 6 year 8 months
6 year, 8 month.
for pleading an early plea.
An early plea for intent to supply cocaine again.
Yes.
What prison did you go to for there then?
Back to Addieville.
Into Addieville, so you've been sentenced to, sorry, would you say 6
6 year 8 months.
8 months. Must have been some feeling that.
That was horrible, man.
You're driving up to the jail again and you're thinking, this again. Can you talk me through your experience in Addieville?
Addieville was actually okay, you know what I mean? Because we done a few things in Addieville. Like we done coaching, see for Livingston. The people for Livingston, actually football team.
Right.
They actually came in there and taught us how to be coaches for like Wayne's football teams. Do you know what I mean? But I never ever stuck to it. Stuck to it in there, but never ever done it when I came out.
So that was the only prison that you spent time in?
No.
You were in Addieville. How long were you in Addieville for before you were transferred?
Probably about a year or something.
A year in Addieville.
Aye,
and
something
then
like that.
transferred to Lomos, is that right?
No, shots.
Shots. You were transferred to Shots, and the reason you were transferred was to be put on a course,
Yes,
to
a
be
construct, rehabilitated, supposedly.
rehabilitated, back out into society. type of course was it? You remember?
It's a construct or something it's called, but it was like, you had to go in there and tell them, now you're guilty. You had to tell them that you're guilty so you can get out. If you get in there and tell them, I wasn't me done that, I don't know why I'm even here for. You're no learning your lesson. You need to tell them what they want to know. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Right, so you've been transferred there. Do you remember your experience there for your first day, or what type of environment was that like?
In shots, it was okay because my brother was there for a long time. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Right, so you knew people there. You had
Aye, well, my brother knew people, so obviously they knew me as well. Do you know what I mean? Through my brother.
So you were looked after in a way.
Aye.
Because it's always good to have that, because there's people getting in there, they don't know anybody, they're vulnerable. You show any sign of weakness,
Aye,
especially in that type of environment, then you're going to get picked on, you're going to get basically bullied. Do you know what I mean? It's like
Aye.
any environment really.
I know, 100%.
But prison being the worst. So I know you're in shots, right? And there's a traumatic event that happened to you that would change the course of your life. Can you talk me through that day when this happened?
Yes. Right, so do you want me to start for the date, or do you want me to tell you how I met the guy?
Just start me through how you met the guy, the build up to it, whatever you're comfortable speaking about, George, because I know it's traumatic in your own time, mate, innit?
Aye, so I seen the guy, obviously. You have got a wee table and there's like 4 chairs on your table, see where you eat your dinner and that,
Right.
in shots. So there was 3 of the seats taken up and there was 1 spare seat. And that guy was sitting in his cell. And I says to him, how do you not come in here and sit with us? So he wasn't left alone. Because it's horrible when you're in there and you're yourself. And I was being a good guy to let this guy join us in our company. So he wasn't sitting there in his cell. And then we were getting on with each other. And then one night, I went into my cell. And when I woke up in the morning, that guy had been in my cell and like slashed all my face and all that.
So I know when we spoke about it, because it's hard to speak about, it's traumatic. You were lying in the cell sleeping.
Yes.
The guards have came, they've opened the cells like they always do.
Aye.
So your door's now open. So
Aye.
anybody can get in there.
Yes.
This guy that obviously you'd met before has came into your cell. Can you tell me in more detail? Because it's a powerful story, right? As I say, traumatic to yourself, but it's good for you to talk about it, get it out there.
Aye.
The emotions that you were going through that day. He's come into your cell, you're lying sleeping.
Yes.
Were you on any
Aye.
drugs at the time?
I taken like a sleeping tablet.
Right.
I taken a sleeping tablet at about 5 o'clock in the morning. So obviously, as soon as I've taken that, I've went to sleep, and this must have happened about 7 o'clock in the morning. Like, he's come into my cell, locked my door for the inside, because it's like a wee snip,
Right.
and your door's in there, so you can lock the door so nobody can come in. That's what people normally do before, but I was sleeping, so I didn't even know the door was open. Do you know what I'm talking about? And he's obviously come into my cell. I'm lying at the bottom of my bed, and he's cut my face, but I didn't feel it. Now, because I was right through all my nerve endings and all that. And only thing I felt was my quilt getting pulled off me, and somebody grabbing me with my boxers and pulling me out my bed. So I didn't even know what it actually happened at this moment in time. And I'm trying to get to my door, but the place is actually full of blood.
I know
And
the way you described it to me was, it's like you had a moment where it's like a survival moment, and the scene that you can remember, you have like clips in your mind. It was like something for like a Freddy Krueger movie.
Aye.
You described it to me
No,
as.
it was because there's that amount of blood on the flare. I feel as if I was like running through this blood, but I couldn't move, if you know what I'm talking about. So I'm talking about, and I'm trying to get to this door, but this guy's so strong. I didn't even know if there was 1 person in my cell or 10 people. because it felt as if people were pulling me back with my shorts and people were slashing my back at the same time. And then my energy was actually running low. And I don't know where I actually got the power. Must have been for God or something. He's obviously put a wee light on me or something, and I've just stood right up, ran this guy, and he's obviously got winded. And I've turned around, and I've obviously managed to get to my door. After obviously my blood, he stabbed us in the neck, slashed on my back, and then I go outside the cell, and I was actually, had no blood in the top of my body. It was just in my legs, and then my heart stopped. So I'm on the ground, and I could just feel every single bit of energy draining from my body and everything. And I was like, I need some energy, that's all I could think of. Now, he obviously helped me. I didn't know even what was actually happening to me. And one of the guards obviously had to pick me upside down, like run the blood through my legs to start my heart again, because my heart stopped. And then I had to stay in there. Sorry.
Fine. It's obviously traumatic, George. So you basically died out in that landing that day, and they've brought you back. And it's powerful for you to speak about, because it changed your life forever. Do you know what I mean? You probably never spoke about it in that detail before.
Aye.
So for you to go through that, especially it being unprovoked, you still don't know why he done it to this day.
Nah, no.
You told me that he'd actually attacked somebody else that morning before he's come into your cell.
Aye.
So the guy was obviously deranged, he had schizophrenia. He shouldn't even have been in there.
No, he shouldn't.
He should have been in a mental institution.
Yes.
And I know now that he's actually been put into there in, is it Carstairs or something? Because he's dangerous to himself, he's dangerous to others.
To the community.
He's mentally ill. And I know you don't have any ill hate towards him now.
No, even as you're saying, I don't even, because I don't know what it was for or anything, and I don't have hold a grudge against the guy, because the guy was no well. Do you know what I'm talking about? It was made of the prison they should have known this stuff.
They should have known that, and he shouldn't have been in there for a start. So that day, right, we'll continue on the story because it's traumatic. You've basically died on the landing. They've kept you in there for about an hour before you've been took to hospital, because they couldn't move you because the injuries are so severe. Severed your jugular. You've got the wounds that you need to carry now for the rest of your life. Do you remember waking up in the hospital?
I can remember. I ended up waking up actually, see, before I left Shotts prison. I actually can remember coming round now after they've got me, they've gave me fluids and all that through. I don't even know if it was a drip or not. I can't even remember exactly, but they were putting it through. But I can remember waking up there and going to the ambulance. And then I can remember obviously getting rushed into, was it Wishaw Hospital? And then I got transferred from Wishaw Hospital to Monklands, because that's where the guy does the plastic surgery, but he was like the professional surgery or something, and that's where he was that day or something. So they take me from that hospital to the Monklands Hospital to get an operation.
And I know that you said to me it was actually a double razor that was used on you, which makes it even more difficult to repair, to heal, to do surgery on. So obviously that's difficult. So when did you actually start to come round then? So when you're feeling like, and you actually take in what's just happened to you?
I actually didn't even really know what's happened to me until I actually went back to prison, because I thought it just felt like a dream, because it was just so fast. Now, you're going in for this operation, like a couple of years after that happens, So just say about 6 o'clock at night, I go for an 8 hour operation. So I don't even know what's happened to me up until then. Obviously, I'm lying there like sore and just panicking, wondering what happened. Am I going to live? Am I going to die? Do you know what I'm talking about? And then I went for the operation, and it was only meant to be a 2 hour one. Do you know what I'm talking about? And I was in there for 8 hours because I had to. I'm not like paralysed in that one side. Do you know what I'm talking about?
So it damaged the nerve endings on your face.
Aye.
So I know you weren't in hospital long, and they took you back.
6 years after I got out the 8 hour operation, I couldn't even walk. And they were actually in the hospital. Like, they actually put me around there, picked me up off the bed, and I had an arm round that one, the screws, shoulders, and the one round the other one, and they were actually like dragging me because I couldn't even move my feet. So I'm talking about, and then one of the doctors are shouting, "Where are you going with him?" And they're like, "Take him back to prison." They're like, "Well, you're not taking him out like that. Put him on a wheelchair, or then I'll think about letting you take him." They just come in and try to take me right out back to shots. Do you know what I'm talking about?
So what was the story with that then? Were they saying there wasn't enough guards to monitor you in the hospital?
Aye, that's what they were saying, but it wasn't even like that. I don't know why this would even happen. Do you know what I mean? They says there wasn't enough guards, obviously. See, for the G4S people, they weren't going to be able to monitor me, but I don't know. I don't think that was true. Do you know what I'm talking about?
So you were took back to the same wing? Would they try to move you to somewhere else?
Aye, they were trying to put me into protection.
Right, but you didn't want that, obviously.
No, I says to them, I'm not going to protection because I want to get back to the exact same hall I came out of, because I knew I did nothing wrong and I didn't deserve to be this. Do you know what I'm talking about?
So see, when you went back, I know you told me they put you in a cell opposite where the incident happened.
Yes.
And you could actually see it still taped off. They were still doing their investigations. That must have been emotional. How did that feel? So when you're watching and you're seeing these things?
I know, because it was emotional. It obviously got the better of me, do you know what I'm talking about? Because there's wee gaps in the doors. So obviously I'm like looking out every 2 minutes as I see these tapes, you know, and I'm like, I wonder what's actually behind that door. Now, because I couldn't really obviously tell you what was in there. And then I obviously got to look in it, and the blood was like, it was actually pure thick. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know the guards, I don't know if they showed you it, but they had it on CCTV, him entering your room.
Aye.
And I know you were told he was only in there for 33 seconds.
Aye, 33 seconds.
But it felt like
days. Aye, it felt hours anyway, do you know what I'm talking about? It felt a long time in there. I've never, as if time just stopped.
Because you're locked in there.
Aye.
Like I said, you can't defend yourself because you're sleeping.
Aye.
He's attacked you, so it's a hard thing to do, and obviously you've managed to find the strength to get out of there.
I know, I don't even know how.
You saved your own life in a way, because God knows what would have happened if you didn't go out that door. You wouldn't be sitting here today telling this story.
And I'm proud of you for having me on this show.
Not a problem, George. So, how long did you have left on your sentence?
It wasn't even that. So when that happened, I was actually on transfer to go to like Castle Huntley.
Right.
And then that held me back from moving on. So it did. I was like another 5 months after it, and I was meant to be gone like practically when that happened to me. I was only meant to be gone like the next couple of weeks after that.
So you were preparing for release before that happened?
Yes.
And then you were held back. So when did you actually get to go to Castle Huntley then?
Probably about 6 months after the incident happened to me.
So it's going through those emotions. So see, when you were back on the wing, were you back out mixing with people and stuff like that while you still had these stitches? And
yes.
And how did that feel? That must have been hard. People obviously knowing what had happened and stuff like that.
I know it was hard, obviously, even like when that door opens the next morning, and then I'm going out, because it's prison you're in. Do you know what I'm talking about? Everybody's judgmental, or they wouldn't be there. They're all got their own things to hang with. But I was obviously, I got on with a lot of people. Do you know what I'm talking about? Actually, I even tried to even go out and play football and everything with these scars. Still even hardly any blood in my body, and I still tried to do everything that I was doing. Do you know what I mean?
So when did you get moved to Castle Huntly then? Then, do you say it was 6 months?
Aye, 6 months after the incident, aye.
6 months. How long were you in Castle Huntly before you were released?
Probably about 8 to 10 months.
8 to 10 months. And then you were released. So you're still going through these emotions, this crazy trauma that's happened to you. Like you said, it's changed your life. So when you finally got out, did you get back to your family?
Yes.
What were you like when you were first released? Were you back into the drugs again?
No, I was scared.
Right. What about, were you taking drugs? But
Yes.
right.
I was taking, obviously, but through that full sentence, I was on pre-gabalin and gabapentin. And that's what I taken to get through that full sentence.
Did they prescribe that to you because of your injuries, or?
No, at the end they prescribed me, but I was just taking them before that happened to me as well. Do you know what I'm talking
Just
about?
to get through the day?
I was just numb in there. I didn't have any emotions or anything. Do you know what I'm talking about?
So, getting back to your family, right? You're still obviously having to deal with the trauma of that incident. You said to me earlier on that you stayed in a lot. You never left your room. You
Aye.
had this crazy anxiety. As soon as you heard a car going by or you heard a gate shutting, you're going through these emotions because you're on edge all the time.
Constant.
And you couldn't mingle again. How long did you experience that for? So you were basically hiding for the world? Because
I'm actually I still experience the hingbies, you know what I mean? That's how I prefer in the back room. Because if I'm in the front, if I hear motors, I'm always at the window. It's still, I don't know how to get rid of that now. Hopefully it'll go away one day, but it's hard. Even my sleeping's still terrible, do you know what I'm talking about? Because I still think if I'm going to wake back up the next day, do you know what I'm talking about?
it's a hard experience, but do you still have like nightmares and stuff like that about
Aye.
it? Because it's no easy to get through, but everybody can heal for these traumas. So I want to speak to you now. When did you really start to get back out there, start feeling good, becoming a good dad, getting out into mingling with people, reaching out for help?
I think it wasn't even that long ago now. It was like 6 months ago or something. Actually, one day I was just hanging with one of my pals that I met in prison, and he's doing good for himself, do you know what I'm talking about? And I was watching him, and I even tried to send him messages all the time, and I was like, I'm not ready for it. Now deleting the messages. Then one day I just sent that message, and then I'm here today as a totally different person.
So it's going through that healing process. I know you're wearing the jumper today, break the cycle.
Aye.
You told me the wee story about it. It's a great thing. I'm all for anybody changing their life, going through the healing process, as I said. There's nothing more beautiful when you see somebody like that. No everybody gets there.
Aye.
That's the reason why I do this show. It's to inspire people, to show people that anybody can change with the right guidance, the right determination, the right hard work. So it's great to have you sitting here, getting emotional, telling your story. So when did you actually reach out? When did you go and meet this guy?
Probably about 3 months ago.
Right, can you speak me through that? Because obviously the anxiety's there. You're feeling emotions.
Aye, no, it was dead emotional, obviously, like trying to talk to him. Because it's a friend, you know what I'm talking about? But that's what they're there for, supposedly, your friends, aren't they? They're meant to be there for you to speak to them. And so this guy was just sitting listening, and I was just telling him, see the way I'm speaking, the new with you, Jim. That's what I done with him, and he opened me with open arms, not mean, and brought me in, and he's made me who I'm murder now.
So see, when you went to do you remember your first day going to the group?
Aye.
Did you get to do a share, or were you just sitting listening?
I was just first time we went on a wee retreat thing, there was people talking, telling them who they were and all that, and I was just telling them as what I'm speaking about now, about a wee thing that happened to me in prison, and I got obviously upset at that moment in time, and there wasn't any judgment or anything. The full group actually stood up and they all hugged me and says that they were glad to be there for me. Do you know what I'm talking about?
It's a great thing when you can actually reach out for help like that, and people are there to use their own experiences and show you that people will be judgmental, especially you're carrying the scars. No, you're not scared to come out and show your face now. Do you know what I mean? You're showing them that even though that happened to you, you're standing tall and you're be able to come on this show and speak about these things. It takes a lot of strength, George, a lot of power, and it's also part of the healing process.
I know, and I love it.
So what sort of practical activities did you do then? Break the cycle, talk me through that, because...
Well, we done like cold water therapy, and my pal, he likes meditating and all that, so he was showing us how to do a bit of meditation. I didn't know if all this stuff worked, but it does. You know what I'm talking about? It's amazing, the things that they actually do. And then he wanted me to be one of the leaders on the thing with, but I wasn't ready or nothing. Do you know what I mean? I need to look me and myself before I can help somebody else. I'll be there to help people, but I need to look into myself first.
No, it's great, because a lot of people would jump at the chance to be part of something like that, but you're right, you need to really heal yourself first. And when you're on a good vibration, you've got good energy, you've healed yourself with such a traumatic event, and people will listen to you. They'll start to take notice. They'll think, that guy's came from there. He's went from nothing to something to everything. So now we're going to listen to him, because he comes with wisdom, he comes with grace. You know what I mean? You're a cracking soul. I can tell just by sitting with you. But it's no easy, because when we come from a background like that, growing up in a rough environment, it's no easy to break that cycle. It isn't.
I know.
For you to sit here and tell this story, it's inspirational, George. Do you know what I mean? It's powerful.
Thanks.
And wanted to ask you as well, so how often do you go? Are you still involved?
I'm in contact with them every day anyway.
Right.
Sometimes I spend it with my family, or else I go through and see them all the time. Do you know what I'm talking about? We go to Luss for dips on Sundays.
Well, it's cold water therapy that I started with when I was in my recovery process.
It's amazing, isn't it?
And I love it, because it's a lot of people think, oh, the water and stuff. It's not really about the water. For me anyway. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. I think it's the mind. So the mind is telling you, oh, it's freezing in there, I can't do it. Like anything. And then you get in there and you get your 5 minutes or your 7 minutes, you get your breathing right, a bit of breath work before you get in. And then when you come out, you're getting that natural high, the dopamine, the serotonins. They say it's 10 times a better high than cocaine.
Aye, it's like, and it lasts longer.
And it lasts longer. And it's a natural high. So it comes with a natural come down. So doing things like that, the meditations, putting good thoughts out, getting a journal, writing stuff down, believing in yourself again, and also helping people. Because when you're helping people, it comes back. The good karma comes in.
Aye.
And I believe as well, when we're acting these things, when we're going through that, and we're getting out bad energy, like we're doing the drugs or we're into the crime, you get bad karma back, and this is what happens. And a lot of people experience that, but not a lot of people understand it. So it's great for you to be able to sit here and talk about this. You're blessed, my friend.
Thank you.
And I also want to ask you, moving forward for here, right? What would be your dreams and your goals, like your targets in life?
Well, to be, obviously I'm a better person than I was. And I want everybody now I don't like anybody to hold resentment against anybody. Unless obviously it's needed to be done, but there's always a way around it, I think.
So
I don't know if
no, that's fine, George. So I'm just thinking, right, before we finish up on this episode, if there's another message that you can send out, right for the heart, all the stuff that you've been through, all the traumas, all the the hardships, the prison sentences, the drugs. Now you're on the right path. You're a family man now. If you could say, there's so many people watching that are not in a good place. But if you could send a really good message out to them, now is the time.
That there's always somebody out there to speak to. So there is. Because I didn't think there was anybody to speak to. And look where I'm at today. Because obviously, I know it's only a friend, and that's how I got to here. And then I met yourself. And other people can do what I done.
Beautiful message, George. It's been great having you on the show, my friend.
Thank you.
How do you feel everything went there? Were you happy with everything?
Yes, I was a wee bit nervous, but I'm good.
No, as I say, it's been great having you on, and I know you'll do great things, and you should just keep on the right path, mate, and just keep going through that healing process, because it's no easy, but if you just keep digging away at it, eventually you'll overcome that anxiety. You won't get those feelings of being scared and stuff like that, but it takes a real man to come on and put everything on the line and speak for the heart, mate. So respect to you, George.
Thanks.
And as I say, it's been a pleasure having you on. Thanks.
A pleasure being on.
You're welcome, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you.